What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 633. I am your host, Stevie V, alongside, holding down the fort with me, Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi, on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day as we record it?
Hello, darling. Power to the people. Let's do it. Let's go, fight the good fight. That's what we're here for. I'm inspired by Dr. King every day. So this day is just, an extra day that I get to uphold his beliefs and values.
And on an interesting day as well, when it's also the inauguration of, we won't name his name, but inauguration day as well. And very interesting how they both fell on the same day, isn't it?
So I was on, the social medias, and somebody was saying that we could be inaugurating our first Black female president on this day. And it just made me a little sad. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy that this fell on MLK Day. But you know what? I'm taking it as a signal that we should just be fighting fascism on all fronts and making sure that our leaders are leading with justice and not from their pockets.
Good points. And we'll be talking about some things that you can stand up for a little bit later on this show. So stay tuned for that. But yes, happy MLK Day when we record this. Of course, the show drops Tuesday, but I just got back from a fabulous week in London celebrating my birthday. And one of the things that I went for, the whole purpose of this trip was to see Vanessa Williams in the show Devil Wears Prada. And can I just say it was so good and brilliant, the story. I mean, if you love the movie, you're going to love the musical. And the music is written none other than Elton John. So you're getting like great music, and it shows in this musical. Vanessa is brilliant from the moment she comes up in an elevator onto the stage, diva and everything, as Miranda Priestly. Vanessa is Miranda Priestly in Devil Wears Prada, the musical. And we just loved it. I mean, it follows the story just like we all know and love the film. But there's a couple switches out that are fun. The music, like I said, I mean, obviously there was no music in there. They beef up the fashion, if you can believe that, in many ways. Where, remember when they go to the ball at one point when she goes to the ball, and it was fun and everything in the movie, but you really get the feeling in the musical that it's the Met Gala. And you know how much attention is on the Met Gala and the fashion, and they utilize thumping beats and fashion that is just over the top, very Met Gala. And I felt like they beefed that up more on what it really should be, which was, I think, what they were kind of alluding to in the movie, but never really got there. They make up for it in the musical version. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah. And at the end of it, like I said, we went to go see Vanessa Williams, and my sister said, where's the stage door? Do you want to go? And it was very cold there. And I thought, I don't know. And she just lost her mom. Is she really going to be signing autographs or taking pictures? I just thought no, but I said, sure, let's go, because a friend of mine has a friend in the show, Ethan Lafong, and you and I were looking at his Instagram the other day.
Super cute.
Super cute. Follow him on Instagram at Ethan Lafong. He is not only in the ensemble, but he plays James Holt, the designer that's in the movie and now in the musical, and he's so good in it. So congrats to him, because my friend's been following him since he used to do cruises back in the day, and to see him kind of go up the ranks and get a featured part in a musical on the West End is pretty big. Well, I thought if nothing else, we can see Ethan and I can say, hey, I'm friends of your friend, and take a picture with them. Well, we're waiting there, not a lot of people, and there's this woman that comes out, and I've got my program ready to sign. And I'm like, who's this woman? Because it was cold, and this woman had a beanie on and a huge coat. So, and I look closer, I'm like, oh my God, that's Vanessa. And I hit my sister and I said, it's Vanessa. And she says, what? Oh my God. And so then we went right up to the gate there, right across from her. And She signed she had her own Sharpie, like a good actress should have, right? You don't want
Yes,
to get
darling.
sick. And then on top of that, I said, "Welcome back, Vanessa," because this was her first day back from being out mourning the death of her mom. And so I said, "Welcome back." And she said, "Thank you." I think she knew what I meant. And
Yeah.
I also said, visiting from New York, another shout out because that's where she lives. And she has encouraged people to come across the pond to see this show. So I wanted her to know that we made our way over here just to see this show and you. And then lastly, she's like, "Okay, who wants pictures?" And the few people that were there started taking selfies. And then my sister was going to take a picture of Vanessa and I. And I said, "No, get over here," to my sister. Like, you are just as huge fan as I am of Vanessa Williams. So she got in there and I said, "Vanessa, can we get a shot?" She said, "Of course." She leaned right in next to us as if we were like her bestie.
Aw.
Just so cool, so giving, such a pro. I mean, I remember when I interviewed her years ago and I told her, "You're such a triple threat, singer, dancer, actress." And she nodded. And she's just, if you love her already, you'll love her in this part. But just know that she's such a good person and so down to earth, which I think is always wonderful when you see when your icons, you see them in person. You just hope that they're as cool as Vanessa is. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so awesome. So happy to see that. Made my way back to New York City. We celebrated my birthday dinner here in New York, which was so much
Yes.
fun.
So much fun.
Kodi got me some vinyl, which I was listening to last night. Thank you again for that, because you got me to
Anytime.
rehook up my. It's a hot mess, the cables behind my TV set, and I spent a good hour getting it back together. And thanks, because now I can play vinyl. So
Right? And it
yeah,
was worth it. You sent me a
yeah.
little video, and I was like, it sounds amazing. And I was so happy with the Samba Jazz album that I got for you.
Oh, and then an iconic one that everybody should probably have in their repertoire is Prince Purple Rain. Come on now. I
I
mean,
know. I saw it, and I had to snatch it up for you.
the
So
fact that I didn't have it then is amazing that I have it now. So thank you again for that.
my pleasure. And thank you for having a beautiful birthday dinner. It was such a great time with friends and great conversation and dinner. The dinner was immaculate, darling. So, yeah, anytime you want to have a birthday, just go ahead and have one, okay?
Absolutely. Anyone making their way out to New York anytime soon or in 2025, check out a restaurant in Tribeca called Chambers. It's that good. It's intimate. It's great for friends, romantic. It's perfect. And shout out to Chambers Restaurant on Chambers Street. Also, I've mentioned before, if you're coming to New York, you got to see an off-Broadway show. Kodi saw it as well, called Drag the Musical with
Yep.
Nick Adams.
So
But
good.
yeah, and it opened with Alaska Thunderfuck, correct?
Yep.
And she's a producer in the show, but she's finished her run of the show and passed it on to Jimbo. And I have to
Oh.
say, Jimbo did an excellent job.
Oh, love that.
It's always fun seeing and show that you love a second, third time, because there's little changes. This time they added Jimbo, obviously, who, like I said, has their interpretation of it. One character that played one character is now another character. And that's just so fun. You kind of feel like an insider when you go to a show that you love so much. And what was really cool was it was its 100th show the night that we
Oh,
went, and they were
that's dope.
celebrating that. Yeah, super cool. And the producer came out at the end to make that announcement. But what they said about it was, this is an open run show. So as long as we, the audience, keep coming back and you tell your friends, so I'm telling everybody, come go see Drag the Musical, because it will continue to run as long as it's there. And it is that kind of fun show to go with your friends My boyfriend was saying that we should all go next time wearing wigs, which
Ooh.
I was like, wow, okay, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna give me a 40-inch one. It's gonna be down to the ground, honey. Watch
You
out.
do
I'm
it.
coming for the bad
Yeah.
bitch era right now.
It's kind of one of those shows that you kind of start learning the music and you'll sing back to it. It's going to become, I think, one of those iconic shows that you're going to want to see more than once. So if you're coming to New York, you live in New York, see Drag the Musical and keep it going for another 100 and more. Oh,
Perfect.
yeah, exactly. Okay, well, so many things to get into, including TikTok was banned and then not banned. we've
Girl, a
been
mess.
we've been hearing about this, that it's, they're banning it because Chinese know too much about us. Well, if they already have our information, is the way I see it. And the company said TikTok was coming back online. It actually did go off for several hours, which is so funny. But then it said it would be restoring its service. My boyfriend was on there for a little bit, and he got a message when he went on there that said, yeah, you can no longer access TikTok in the United States. However, it was restored after blocking in the evening. And in a statement, TikTok said its video platform was coming back after President-elect, now President
Girl.
Trump, provided the necessary assurances to the company's service providers. So they brought it back, Kodi, but then I think all that it's going to do is push potentially the inevitable a few months down the road. There's no sign if it's fully banned or not. The Biden administration basically just handed it off and said they're just going to have to handle it over at the Trump administration, because by this point, I mean, what do you think about all of this? Do you use TikTok? And I mean, I'll just say one last thing. I feel
Mhm.
for some of the people that have made a business out of it that no longer will or seemingly have that access. And for those people, I feel really bad, because it's really brought them they've helped them incredibly. How do you feel?
So first of all, about the ban, I really think that it was all a stunt. Personally, I think that TikTok is the stunt queen now. Donald Trump been a stunt queen, so I think this was all something that was formulated and calculated for them to garner favor with the TikTok using generation. I also believe that this is, they really kind of bent the knee to Trump and his whole regime, because now if you think about it, he's taken over, or I'm sorry, not taken over. He has his hands in X, which is Twitter, Instagram, which they said that they would do away with all fact checking and things of that nature. You can't even look up certain things anymore on Instagram regarding Trump. So I feel like a lot of those things he has his hands in. He's trying to control a lot of the news that is disseminated to the people. And now with TikTok, he kind of has his trinity basically of social media platforms. And this is, I know it sounds kind of conspiracy theory ish, but I think we all should be aware and vigilant about freedom of speech. If you are able to sign up with Blue Sky, I would recommend going there and seeing, because they have they have fact checkers and they have more freedom of speech as far as what you can say against the regime that is currently in office now. I didn't know I was going to go out on this tangent, but here it is.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, you probably didn't because you were too busy celebrating, as you should, MLK Day, but the little bit that I watched of the inauguration earlier today had all of those guys. Elon Musk, who we know owns X, who's going to have a piece in the administration. Mark Zuckerberg of Meta, also Facebook,
There he is.
Instagram, was standing two people away from him. And the owner here of TikTok was scheduled to be there as well. And he was there, and they were like standing shoulder to shoulder there, which, like you said, I think only this is the state of where we're headed for the next 4 years. And like you said, Meta basically said freedom of speech, but so you can basically say anything you want about LGBTQ people. They're no longer going to like protect us. And we're so embedded in these in so many ways. But I
Yeah.
am happy that in 2024, so many people did go over to Blue Sky. And so far, so good on that platform. I don't think the head of Blue Sky was at the inauguration, at least that I noticed. And that's a good sign. So, yeah, I just think vigilance and more than a side eye will have to be on these platforms because
Yeah.
and it's just sad because we use all of these. And for them to just take such a stance and bow down to the ring, that of Donald Trump, is really gross and disgusting. And, oh,
Alarming.
yeah,
Well, I'm not saying don't use them because, like you said, people have their entire businesses and lives wrapped up in a lot of these platforms. I'm saying just be wise about how you use them because everything is a tool out there and they can't forge a tool and have you use it for one specific use. You can use it the way, whatever way you want to.
correct. Absolutely. Well, we all have just, our hearts have been sending love over to Los Angeles because of the fires. I personally know people that have lost homes. It's just so sad, but leave it to the Instagays for really bringing the messy drama that many of us really need. LA is an interesting place. I've lived there before, and a lot of people always feel online that LA's gays deliver a messy, fun social media post that some of us may need or not need. But even though things in LA are currently on fire, it doesn't mean that we can't engage in some slightly more lighthearted news. Well, the gays were coming forward, including this couple that makes their living as social media influencers that lost their house to also announce that they were also going to be getting divorced and ending their
Oh,
relationship after years and years. After losing their
oh
shared
no.
home in the fire, gay writer artist duo decided to use the opportunity to start fresh, which is, I guess, an honest, smart move. Friends and family commented with loving, supportive words, but many people were quick to point out that this is very on brand for LA gays, as somebody wrote. They go by Maxisms and Andre Camilla. Uh, do you know them?
What?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Did you
Okay,
know them?
sorry. I follow them. Yes, I didn't even know. That's so sad to me.
Yeah, they we'll put the link. I can put this link up on so you have it's Maxisms is one of them, and the other the I don't know if it's husband or long term boyfriend. I think it's probably long term boyfriend.
Yeah,
But they've been
I
together
think so.
for years, and they lost their home. But like I said, a lot of people were quick to basically say, you feel for them, but do you think this was a way to kind of turn it around and make a moment to relaunch, or what's your? They said they've been thinking about this for a while.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure if they had been, they wouldn't just spring this on people. I feel like this is something that they had on their minds and on their brains for quite some time because that's usually how it goes when uh, two people break up. This is so sad to me. Uh, so I do think that they probably could have waited. They've been waiting this long. They probably could have waited a little bit longer because people are going through a lot right now, especially in the LA area. So for them to kind of announce it right now, I feel like it is. It's just not the right time for me personally. I would have waited a little bit longer. Everybody is free to do whatever they want to do, but I don't know. Is it poor taste? I don't know.
Well, they lost a home, so I guess they
Yeah.
get to kind of say their truth. But I think it's also they are social media influencers, and I think it rings to me a little cringy to use the opportunity also to say we support each other, but we're gonna moving in our own direction. But I also think that it's an opportunity that they took advantage of to basically keep their brand going. And because now everyone's going to be talking about them, they got into the news. We're talking about them here. And So it's a lot of different feelings. They probably had this conversation, I'm sure, amongst themselves too. It can, if you look at it, depends on how you look at it, half glass full. For other people that are in the midst of all this, I think their whole point was when you got a little bit deeper past the headline, you read that basically they've been thinking about moving on from each other prior to the fires. So it
Hmm.
just wasn't just sparked by the
Oh
fires.
yeah.
But that also, it's a half glass full approach to it that could give some inspiration to those people that have lost everything, that this could be really a time for renewal. I mean, I think about my friend who's in a current relationship with his boyfriend, and his boyfriend lost his house with so many memories in there. I couldn't help but think, after he wrote that he's now living with my friend at his place in Hollywood, that at least he has the love of his life and they seem
Yeah.
so in love, and he has a place to go. And well, it's so sad. I think that could be, something that's positive that other people might need to hear.
Yeah, I hear you, and it humanizes them, and it kind of normalizes what everybody else is going through and the feelings that a lot of people are going through. I I do think that in this time, for me personally, if I was going through something like that, I would want to cling to somebody that I was really close to, because that you can't have a relationship for that long and still not be close. But I get it, I understand it. I don't know if I can align my thoughts to think like that though. So because uh, yeah, this is a shocker to me. I'm kind of a little bit sad. They've been together for so long. I follow them, and I don't know. I got
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
surprised. I don't even know that I never knew.
Well, I was thinking a little bit of this, did ring a little with me, and I couldn't help but think, when you decide to work with a partner, especially like in social media, that sometimes it's just a little too close for comfort, I think. And I don't know that, well, I could maybe work on a project with my partner, I'd also have to have something else on my own as well,
Yeah.
because I just think it gets too close for comfort.
Oh, I
I don't know.
definitely agree with
Yeah.
that.
Oh my gosh. Moving on. This is something that I think is a good thing. Apple is dropping artificial intelligence. Did you talk about this, Kodi, the other day?
No.
Okay, good. Artificial intelligence. Apparently, you can get your news on Apple, or you could, through AI, which I don't even know why you would do this. And recently, the new tool wrongly claimed that tennis player Rafael Nadel, who I've actually seen before at US Open, was gay, and he's not gay. It's just got it all wrong and claimed a bunch of other things that were untrue. But when you out somebody that's not even out, it's ridiculous, I think. The BBC publicly complained about the AI feature after also citing a non-existent BBC report that Luigi Maggioni, who stands, we know him, had taken his own life. And we know he's
Wow.
behind bars in Brooklyn. So Apple said it would update the feature, but it has now been suspended for now, and said with the latest beta software release of iOS 18.3, and the news and entertainment category will be temporarily unavailable. We're working on improving it, but I don't know, Kodi. Journalists make mistakes, but they do a lot of fact checking, and they didn't. I don't want to get my news through AI. Do you think it's good that they've dropped this?
Yeah, I do. I feel like AI should not be writing our stories. It should be helping us live our lives in a way that is more, so we can do more creating and we can do more writing. It should do handle all the mundane things like making breakfast or cleaning our house while we. I don't think it's something that it should be doing, because again, it's going to get things wrong. Human beings get things wrong all the time, but I do feel like with all the fact checking that goes on, I feel like it is less likely for it to go wrong in that way. Uh, yeah, and this goes to show you that Instagram should not be getting rid of their fact checkers, just
Yeah,
as a precaution.
absolutely. And typically, when you get something wrong, we got something wrong that wasn't even that big of a deal. It was, but we corrected it on the next episode because one of our listeners informed us it wasn't as serious as outing somebody that's not even gay. That story was weeks and weeks ago about outing Rafael, and to see that barely just yesterday they got rid of the AI Apple News platform is kind of too long. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, so let's not do that. I won't be getting my news from that. Just like I wouldn't be getting my news from TikTok. I mean, run your business, make fun videos, but I don't want to get my news like a lot of people do from watching a TikTok video, which often is conspiracy theory laced and just inaccurate.
Well, especially now.
Yeah, right. All
Uh,
right. Well, there was huge conversations going on recently. I think the wintertime is a good time for us to be online having these conversations where gay men were sharing the times that they caught feelings for their friends with benefits. Can
oh.
happen, I guess, when friends with benefits starts getting romantic. No strings attached fun gets all tangled up with emotions. And too often, sadly, it ends in heartbreak. And on a recent forum sharing the times they've fallen for hookups, one user said he was listening to the One That Got Away by Katy Perry and reminiscing about a man he met at gay.com. And once they hooked up on a regular basis, but now they live in different cities. Quote, I really liked him, not just because the sex was amazing, but genuinely as a person. Made me wonder how many others caught feelings for someone who was never a romantic relationship. When we were younger, it was more just about fun, but the older I get, the more I wonder what if. Have you ever fallen for one of your friends with benefits, Kodi?
I think I always fall for my friends with benefits. I think that might be my issue. I feel like I turn all the people that could be paramours or potential paramours, I romanticize a lot in my brain. So I can see how this could happen. My question to him is, why didn't he try and make it work? You know, if you are having feelings with somebody, if you feel like you are vibing with them and you know you're aligned, I feel like that is the time for you to take the next step and be brave and actually see if you can make something work out of this predicament that you're in.
See, and I disagree. I think it's too
Okay.
late. I think you do know a few things typically about your friends with benefits. I'm thinking of the last one that I had, like that was super fun. I met him at the Naked Beach, and what I already knew was I was pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure I was accurate. In fact, I know I was accurate because I saw it on social media that he had a partner, if not a husband.
Mm.
And I didn't, so I already knew that portion of it. And I never asked him about it. I never asked if they were open. Oftentimes he would say, one time we got together and it was always super hot, but he said, I just want to please you. I don't want to bust my load because I'm saving it for tonight. And what I took by that was he was saving it for his partner because they were
Oh,
going to have,
wow.
yeah. And
Girl.
this was a guy that busted huge loads, right? I mean, it was so hot. So perhaps his partner wouldn't know if he didn't have a huge load like that, or maybe he didn't need to know what was going on, but that he still wanted to be able to have that huge load for his partner. And I respected that. I just didn't ask any questions. So I feel like with friends with benefits, where I can relate to this is not a friends with benefits is when in the past when I've gotten together with somebody that I met at a bar or a club, we go home together, and I often wonder if they spend the night like, could this one be the one? And I get up in that overnight madness and hotness that we shared thinking that. But the friends with benefits I've had in the past was strictly transactional in terms of really good sex, and where we might share a fun conversation or so at the beginning or end. We didn't kiss a whole lot. It was
Oh.
merely about the sex. And it's like time had already passed where if we weren't going to go into a relationship, i.e., because either I knew they were in a relationship or it just wasn't going to happen, that it was just fun. And I treated them as that.
Yeah, I've been there before, and you know what? You better use them hooker rules. If you can use the hooker rules, you better use them. Don't kiss on the
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah,
um,
right.
yeah, but I hear what you're saying, and I think recently, and that those have been the rules that I have applied. I generally look for, or I would look for guys that had a partner because I wasn't ready to get into anything at that time. So I understand where you're coming from. I do think that, if you do feel something, because you put yourself in a space to where you wouldn't feel anything, but I was talking about if you do feel something for that person, then just be brave and reach out and see what could happen. But I know that from what you described, it's also possible for you to completely cut off your emotions.
Yes, right. And keep it in perspective because you know too much about it.
Yes.
This will never go anywhere.
And we're
So,
all capable of that. That's something
yeah,
that I
right.
learned. Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on to a viral post about getting hickeys. I didn't know we were still doing that.
I love a hickey. It's a
Wow.
passion mark.
Uh, it screams 70s and 80s and not in a good way, is what I think. I mean, I think I had them in high school and it was embarrassing then. And I just think I would not, I hate to say at my age, but I would just not want that. A viral post about getting hickeys while at the movies ignites fierce gay Twitter debate. And it was a debate around the movie theater etiquette. This happened at the movies. Oversharing and the ethics of hickeys ignited huge gay Twitter thanks to a post. Here's what they wrote. And by the way, I loved this movie so much with Nicole Kidman. Took a boy to see Baby Girl. Have you seen it yet, Kodi?
No, but I definitely am gearing up to see it. I need to go see it very soon.
You must. It's
Yes.
so good. I could see why this movie's prompted a lot because it is just that good and that scintillating. Nicole is, of course, amazing. And it's about control. She's a CEO of a certain age, and the guy is uh, like basically an intern. And
Hmm.
he's much younger, and they start up this dom sub relationship. She's the sub in it,
Oh,
and yet she's
okay, girl.
also a CEO, and it's that hot. In fact, my boyfriend was like getting some ideas. He's like, I'm like, no, 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 no.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. You better
yeah.
do that.
He's like, there's one moment, I won't ruin the whole thing, but it's like get on all fours. He was like telling me that get on all fours. I'm like, you better rethink
Oh.
that on who's getting on all fours. But okay.
Oh, I love a little power struggle. You better
Yeah, oh
do
yeah,
it.
yeah. So he wrote, this person took a boy to see Baby Girl, and I promise you, he can't tell one thing about the plot. A user named Grant, some bod kill me, wrote alongside a pic of his exceptionally bruised neck. Was it the eye-catching imagery, sexy storyline, or a grassroots marketing campaign for Baby Girl that skyrocketed the post? It was on January 14th. It went viral. 4.6 million views, Kodi, and counting, of
Yeah.
people commenting on this that on every spectrum. I don't know that everyone's for it. I don't know. Are you here for? First of all, movies are too expensive these days to waste it on
Oop, there it is.
snogging, and giving hickeys at the movie theater. And during the holiday, I did go see a couple of movies back to back. I think I was talking about it before on a previous episode, where it was one of those two theaters where the seats recline. One of the theaters, we had like our little nook to ourselves. We had a bottle of wine we were sharing,
Oh, yes.
and but we were also watching Wicked, and then the double feature we went and saw Gladiator. So not really movies where you're gonna one's like very, not neither one of them were Baby Girl. And
Yeah.
so, but also, well, I might be a little romantic with my boyfriend. I am not wasting all this money that we spent on these movies. We could do that at home. How do you rate it?
Right. And I think that for it to be done in the movie theater, for it to have as much pronouncement. The hickey was like a bruise, people were saying. I think that would be really distracting to the other moviegoers. So I definitely would probably not do that. But there's nothing wrong with a little couple pecks to make out a little bit, especially if the movie is sexy. But I do think that you're right as far as my big age, because I'm right behind you in age. I think that I like hickeys, but I think I should be wiser as far as where I put them on people, because if it's not visible, then that's okay until it's not visible until they take their clothes off. So that's a good thing. I think it could be a little sexy.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to do it at home. We had movie night last night, and we were hunkered down on my couch with a blanket and watching that new Cameron Diaz film and Jamie Foxx.
The one where they're like
Uh,
spies or something.
yeah, really fun. I highly recommend it. And by the way, if you have a Netflix account, it's not free, but it's like you can pause, right? So we were like, at times we were getting romantic and then making out a couple of times, but I know the plot line that was going on. You can also pause too. Somebody said here at the theater I went to here in New York, pull this shit in an Alamo draft house. Well, there's many there's many Alamo draft houses around the country, and I'm raising that order card. Yeah, that theater is awesome, but tickets are not cheap, and if you order food and drinks, I'm not wasting it on giving my partner a hickey. No,
Yeah,
thank you. Somebody
I
else
agree.
pointed out it's very high school too. And it is. I think it just brings up too many memories of high school where it was like, it's just amateur hour to me. And it screams high school. And I am way far from high school. You can have an amazing, passionate snog, as I learned in the UK, as they say, snogging, which is like a makeout. And I'd rather have an amazing snog than a like bruising of my neck. Thank you.
I hear you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Okay, this is kind of crazy because a recent hookup was talking online, all of the things that people are. I think it's so cold outside that we're just going online and sharing our stories right now and
Hmm.
waiting for the sun to rise and summer to come, which can't come soon enough. But
Right.
recently somebody wrote, my hookup prepped for an encounter right in front of me. Should I be
Oh,
horrified?
oh my.
Let me explain a little bit more. I thought I'd seen it all, they wrote, but my experience last night left me dumbfounded and honestly a little grossed out. I met a guy at a bar, things clicked, and we went back to his place, which was only a short Uber ride away. Once we got there, he offered me a glass of water. Okay, so far so good, right? Like we like all this. Remember we were talking about this in the past, and what do you offer
Yeah,
your partner? Yeah, I like that.
not water.
Glass
Get
of
out.
water. I'd offer a glass of water. I'd also offer some mezcal, make the
You're
move.
nice.
Yeah. And I waited for him on his couch. I figured he was going to take a minute to get ready since we'd already established that he was planning to bottom. What I didn't expect was the whole process was going to happen right in front of me. He left the bathroom door wide open. It was basically part of the living room, so I could see and hear everything. And by everything, I mean everything. And to make it even worse or awkward, he kept making small talk with me the entire time, like it was the most
No.
normal thing in the world. To be completely honest, it killed the mood for me. I couldn't get out of my head. It ended things pretty quickly. Now I'm wondering, am I overreacting? Is he overreacting, Kodi?
No, he is not. Who does this? That is a private moment between you and your Fleet enema bottle.
Thank you.
You do not need anybody to see that. You tell them to go turn on the TV. That's when I would offer them some alcohol, because I want them to be as distracted as possible when I'm going into the bathroom to clean out. That is not something you want to have small talk during. I can't believe that the audacity of some people. That's wild. If I was the top in that situation, I would have left in the middle. I would have been like, this is too much for me. I need to
Oh
go.
my God, I
This
forgot there's something I got to do. Get out of
Oh.
here.
And then
Yeah.
run away. Oh, my
Yeah.
mother's calling me. Oh, she's locked out of her house. I gotta go.
I don't
So
understand some people. I mean, we were talking about this recently on another show about bathroom etiquette and going to the bathroom. And I think I was saying I had a boyfriend at one point that kept the door open when he was going number two. And it was just like, no, 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 no. Close that
no.
door. There's certain things that you don't need to know about your partner. Yes, we all know that we all do that. But if he should have cleaned out before this occurred, he should have known that
So
he may have met somebody.
So the thing is, you don't know if you're going to meet somebody. Number one, number two, you don't. It sounds like this person is versatile, so he didn't even know if he was going to bottom. And if I was versatile, I would not clean out if I didn't know that I wasn't going to 100% bottom. That isn't something that would not happen. So I can understand the part about him having to go clean out, but having the door open, that's too much.
Yeah, close the door. Be quick about it. Also, I've met people in in a moment where I didn't, I just happened to be out and I didn't plan on meeting anybody. And I trusted my diet, like according to fitness guru Jake Williamson, who's British, really hot. He gives a lot of advice on bottoming all the time. He's a former football, soccer player, wherever you're from, you might say it differently. He's out and proud now, and he posts like a lot of videos at Jake Williamson. Follow him on Instagram. He's kind of hot, actually.
Give
But
him a follow now.
yeah, most of his is eat a proper fiber diet, all that stuff for gut health. And he quotes things like the good doctor that's been on our show, Dr. Goldstein, who often says that if you're doing things like diet and fiber rich supplements or eating a fiber rich diet, that often you don't really need to clean yourself out. And it's not even, and he even goes on to say that often we're cleaner than we even really think. And Jake goes on to say that if you're going to be a top and you're not used to a little bit of like what could be going on down there, like you know what you're going into. It could happen.
It's
But
the booty hole.
right, yeah. So I also think that I've met people in the past and thought, you know what, I feel fine. And I was fine in the end, according to Dr. Goldstein, too. And I think that Jake Williamson is being a little bit more cautious, but I've even talked to personally and even on our show here that, once in a while to clean out, he has his own personal cleansing kit that is a little like gentler on the region than maybe Fleet or some of the bulbs that they sell out there.
Hmm.
And he says, no, I'm not saying never do it, because he says, I'm not saying that because I know we're going to do that, but be aware of it. You be a little bit more gentle to that area. Don't put shower hoses up there every week and not expect that you're not going to potentially do damage down there as well. You're potentially ruining that lining. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Jake Williamson. In this situation that we were just talking about, this person should have already just asked the question, like, I'm probably fine, or he could have just closed the door and did a quick rinse out. But
Swipe.
yeah, I mean, people understand that kind of stuff. This guy would have understood that. So it's just kind of crazy, right? Yeah.
Oh, that was a wild story. I was not expecting that. Can I ask you a quick question though?
Yes.
If I think I've become more accustomed to being with somebody and not them having the door open while they're doing number two, but like every now and then, if they saw something that was funny, they would open the door and peek their head out and say, "Hey, this and this and this and this and this," and then we would have like a little mini conversation and then close the door again. What do you think of that?
Just to kind of keep the energy alive.
Uh huh.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine, I think.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
was like, maybe I'm going a little bit off baseboard. Am I the same as
No.
this other person?
You
Okay,
just
good.
don't. In this situation, the guy could see in a mirror what was actually going on and hear it too. But I think to just make sure, like, hey, I'm okay, I'm alive in here, and
I'm
I'm
alive
still
in here.
coming out. And if you happen to be a little funny, add a little something fun tidbit to the mix, just to make sure that they're not leaving and you're not cleaning out for nobody, is totally acceptable. But
Okay,
if
cool.
you live in a box of a studio and the mirror's right there, like all
No,
bets are off.
close the door, and then
Close the
and check
door.
in every now and then. Be like, "Hey, you still there?"
Yeah.
That's
I
hilarious.
mean, yeah, right. Okay. We love giving advice on this show. And before I do that, though, I just wanted to make a quick announcement that, Patreon is the Tags community where you can get behind the scenes content of Tags podcast and me and some of my co-hosts, and you can grab a free tier where you're only going to get behind the scenes of our lives outside of Tags. Yeah, we do have them, and you'll get it only on Patreon. And since I'm back, I'm posting new material all the time. Go ahead and grab a free tier. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. And if you're feeling really giving and you want to support the show you've known to come and love, we'll go ahead and grab a tier. And when you do, you can get extra special sexy perks like commercial free, which is really great because that comes out and none of those commercials are in there and you can just get it. Often it comes out earlier than the regular show. So that's really cool. You can get an extra episode that is exclusive to Patreon that the rest of the community does not get. And you can get things like my behind the scenes tips and tricks on staying youthful, things I've learned over the past 54 years that I'm imparting with you. So grab that tier as well. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. And we thank you, whether free or a tiered member. We really thank you and see you. So that just
Yes.
means the world to us. Well, we love giving advice on this show. And this one comes, you can always ask us too for some advice. We are here for you. We'll give our handles at the end of the show. This one comes in the form of Reddit, and they ask the question, is Dom top, sub bottom the common pairing in casual sex? What do they mean by that? For those of you who have casual sex, how do you like it, rough or tender? As someone who is naturally top, I find that many men want it rough and dominant and are turned off by affection and tenderness, or even being touched. They often seem nonplussed by a gentle top, especially one who likes sucking. Perhaps this kind of sex is mostly confined to relationships. I don't hook up much, so I'd be interested to hear from those who do. I think top and being a little bit rougher is definitely for hookups, don't you?
Oh, I completely agree. To a certain extent, I feel like I'm 90% to 10% because there have been moments in my experience where people have wanted to have romantic sex in a hookup, and I've had it before. And it was beautiful. It happens less. It's happened way, way less than being more. I think when you go into a hookup, you just kind of, there's so much energy and there's so much just raw sexual tension that's what it kind of gravitates towards. So I've had way more dom top sub bottom sex in hookups. And yes, I've reserved a lot of my sensual and romantic energy for when I was in a relationship.
Yeah, it elicited a lot of responses, and some of the responses were about the focusing on the dumb top situation and thinking that felt too much role play too soon, meaning that I don't want to feel like I have to get into these situations right away. I just want to have sex with this person. I guess this poster kind of confused a couple different things about Dom top versus and rough and tender. So I mean, maybe you don't have to assume the role, but you should decide if you're just going home with somebody, if you're going to actually fuck, right? Who's going to be that position? And there's another Reddit that we don't have time to do today. We'll do it on another one where it was a passive top where the top basically was just there and was making the bottom basically go in and out and have to do all the work, which, okay, there's that situation as well. I kind of feel that if you were just focusing like what you were, which is what I got out of it too on this Reddit post of romantic sex too soon. Yeah, I don't want to be romantic with somebody that I just met at the bar, or the club,
Yeah.
or on an app. I just think I don't know you really, but probably something turned me on by you, whether it was the dick, your energy, and it's leading us to decide if, like I said, if we're going to do top or bottom. We could talk about all the other in between things like sides or jacking off or fraudage or all the other beautiful things that people can do. But if it's just topping and bottoming, I think, yeah, I don't want to be romantic with this person. I don't know you. So,
Also, I kind of think it's all about energy. I feel like it's what that person is eliciting, because I could actually probably see myself if I met somebody in a club setting and we had been more romantic in the club setting, or if we met not at church but at
I mean, you never know.
at like a museum, and it was kind of like, or a cafe, and it had that whole romantic air to it. I feel like that would have me more inclined to be romantic during the hookup.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. Oh my gosh. It's always so much fun catching up with you. And
Yes.
yes, we love it. And you can always follow co hosts here. You can follow Kodi on Instagram at Mr. Maurice. At Mr. Maurice, you can follow him on Blue Sky on the same handle at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on the gram. I am _Stevie, or on my Blue Sky or X account at TAGSPodcast. And there you'll get a preview of my Just for Fans or Only Fans. And I'm back in business posting new content over on those two platforms. So check that out at TAGSPodcast. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex. Lovely.